Okay, we're gonna give it a shot. Hello everybody, it's Brian. It's Tuesday and I'm super unmotivated. Yeah, because it's the day after holiday, so everybody's still coming back to work. If the audio sounds a little different, bear with me. I'm still dialing in this brand new system that I've wanted to try when we go to places like DEF CON or I go on vacation or holidays or something. It's a nice lav mic that you may or may not see right there from Shure. I'm testing it because, you can't take your big fancy ass, shotgun mic. I can't take my big fancy shotgun mic and all that. And I took another lav mic similar to this with me on the cruise ship, and it was good quality. It's definitely something I would test if I had multiple people, like in a roundtable discussion, but I'm testing it out right now. I've done a little testing with videos that I've made internally here. It's okay. I'm still trying to dial it in. It's not as good, obviously, as the microphone, but there's a little background noise that I'm hearing from time to time. You might actually hear more background noise because of, fucking plane flight and stuff like that. But I'm just giving it a shot. I'm trying a lot of the same filters that I've used on my shotgun mic. As if I'm not adding any more complexity, I'm also streaming in 1440p. So you can see my pretty face in even more definition than high definition. It's like somewhere between high definition and ultra high definition. It's like mid high definition. So, but yeah, so, see, I'm already getting notifications from YouTube that, hey, your stream isn't supporting 2K resolution. You need to have like 13,500 kilobits per second or something like that. So interesting. So just testing out a few things. Anyway, so how's everybody doing? Hope your holiday was well. We did the family thing and went down to Coronado, California, which is in a peninsula in San Diego, and just hung out down at the beach a little bit. Enjoyed the weather. It's the microclimates in San Diego are interesting. It'd be cloudy at my house and 20 miles down the road, sunny. And it was a beautiful day, and hope everybody got to take some time off, didn't have to deal with incident responses. I was looking in Feedly for the very inevitable, hey, here's the Terabad vulnerability on Friday afternoon, but I didn't see anything, and I was pleasantly surprised. So yeah, it was good to see the lack of terrible vulnerabilities that usually pop up at this time of year. Also didn't sleep very well last night, so apologies for the yawnies, but yeah, it was good to see that there wasn't a Cisco or an F5 or really awful vulnerability there to put up lost hours or incident response people having to follow up with those items. So anyway, I found some news. I found some articles that I found interesting. Also had an interesting phone call yesterday from my good friend, Matt Domko, who at #cyber was good. He was my vice president of the InfoSec Education Foundation, but if Matt's watching, and I'll let him know that I've given him a shout out here, but I'm sitting at home, I'm actually sitting right here, and I'm, futzing around with things, and I've got video running, and I got a little lo-fi chill in the background, and all of a sudden I get a phone call and it says Matt Domko, and I'm like, did he butt dial me? And so I picked it up and I was like, did you butt dial me? And he's like, no. I appreciate this from him. He said, when I'm driving around, I need people to talk to, and apparently I was the chat roulette, and I came up as the person on the chat roulette. So not to be confused with the other thing, more of a random pick, and I happen to be the one. So we had a good discussion, talked about, just catching up kind of stuff, but telling me some of the stuff that he's been doing that he's interested in doing. And I found myself, good Lord. Okay. Water break. I found myself interested in some of the things that he's doing. So we're going to have some discussions in the next few weeks to go over what that means. And I'm hoping that will bear fruit. It's actually something that I have wanted to do for a while. And when I got down here to San Diego, that was one of the things that I was also interested in doing. So it's just interesting when you get phone calls that just kind of go your way, and you can potentially see an opportunity there. And I'm trying to grab that brass ring. So yeah. So well, let's see. Okay. Honestly, if you're watching YouTube, I don't know if you're actually getting any kind of good feedback, any feed here. It says that the status is good on the stream, so I may have to bump up the bit rate on the stream in weeks to come on YouTube, just to, I don't even know if you can do that on YouTube, so we'll have to see how to do that. The widget I'm using for multiple outputs doesn't, I don't think it gives me, well, it does. It does give me the ability to change scenes, resolution, output, low latency mode. Okay, so there may be a capability of doing that. So yeah, as you can see, it says, hey, your stream's bit rate is this, lower than the recommended. 13,500 kilobits per second for 2K resolution is obscene. So I'm not sure where that's happening there for that. So plus, when it says open the widget, there's nothing to change when you get here. So other than telling you to use a stream rate of 13,500. So I have a good connection so far, and we'll see what happens with that. So yeah. So I was searching through Feedly. Good God. Okay. And one of the things that came up today was creating your automated threat intelligence feed. And I'm not exactly sure what the overarching thought was here with this article. It says, if you're exhausted from multiple threat intelligence related blogs manually, or subscribing to RSS feeds to your email address as part of your day-to-day work, might be time for you to create your own setup to get threat intel feeds automatically with a touch of AI. So the one thing that I found interesting was the 5 simple things you can do to, simple, by the way, simple things you can do to set up your own threat intel feed. And so somebody turned me on to the concept of drawing the owl. I don't know if draw owl name. So this is, how to draw an owl. And so this is the, step 1, draw circles. Step 2, draw the rest of the owl. So this is how simple it is to draw an owl. You have a couple of circles, and then boom, you've got the owl. And what they forget, and I think there's an analogy here if you want to follow this up. There's a lot of things in infosec that we explain, and I'm ultra mega guilty of this. So, if you're like, oh, Brian, you think you're so perfect. I am not a perfect person. I do some of this because in our minds, we've already made the logical leap that we should do the owl, and the problem is we we're like, oh yeah, just get rid of these things. So, simple, just get rid of all you have to do is, and we think that it's, just, right? Just draw the owl. And what I find is, so in continuing this meme here, you have 5 simple steps. Create a list of thread intel blog feeds and RSS feeds. Easy enough, right? You should have a bookmarks or a list of these things that you are following, or you get emails from, companies that are telling you about various threats, or you might sign up for something that gives you the ability to do that. The next thing is, just create a Telegram bot. Now, to be fair, this person does give you some information down on the bottom here. And in this case, this person says, yeah, you can create a Telegram bot using BotFather and go to this detailed blog written by this person. So you also have to know Python. So there's some additional bits there. And it says maybe you're running some program, it takes time to run. So again, 3 simple steps: create a bot using BotFather, get your chat ID, send your Telegram message using Python. If you don't know Python, you're shit out of luck, right? If you don't use Telegram, you're going to have to get a Telegram account, right? And so not everything is as simple as these folks claim to be. I mean, it sounds good if you've got the time and you want to make the effort here. The third one is, you have to create and set up an Azure OpenAI account. So if you don't have an Azure OpenAI account, you're also going to have to set those up. So technically, you don't have to do these in order. You can do them 1, 2, and 3 are pretty much, they can be done concurrently, or, you probably need to have a list of threat intel related blogs and RSS feeds before you do that. But creating the Telegram bot and the OpenAI account, in terms of difficulty, it depends on how much Python you know, right? I would say 1, 3, 2, maybe. If you never set up a Telegram bot, it might be a little additional effort there to make that happen. Okay. And then develop Python code to communicate amongst the web page, Telegram bot, and AI. So then you have to create some kind of Python shim code to be able to scrape the web pages, or use the Telegram bot that you have created from Liu Zhou. Apologies to that person. Sounds like they've got some really excellent stuff here. Let me click on this so I can open that up without screwing it up. This is from 2022, so if some things might have changed, you can follow this how-to if you'd like to make that happen. Again, 3 simple steps. Create the Telegram bot using BotFather. Okay, so let me see, where's... I don't want to read more story. Okay, so where is BotFather? Let's see. Open your Telegram app and search for BotFather. Okay, well, let me go try that. Sounds like it's already made, so that's one less thing you got to worry about, right? Let's see. Do I have Telegram? Yes, I do. Oh, that's because the Die Hard Bolts Club is involved there. So if you don't use Telegram, then you're going to sign up for a Telegram account. How do you search for that stuff? Open the Telegram app and search for BotFather. Okay, so little BotFather. Okay, so you can, okay, one of the downsides is, okay, so you get 2 shady looking things with non-English characters, and then you have the one in the middle called BotFather, and it's got a little check mark on it, which is very similar to the person who looks like the Godfather on here. So what can this bot do? BotFather's the one bot to rule them all. Use it to create new bot accounts and manage your existing bots. Okay. bot API manuals, core.telegram.com/bot/API. Contact @bot support if you have questions about the bot API. I don't use Telegram that much to care, so I'm not going to do that. Boink, boink. Anyway, so BotFather is easy to install on Telegram. You are locked into Telegram at this point unless you have some other way of creating a chat bot and creating whatever Python code you need to, do everything it is you need. Sending your Telegram message using Python. Okay, so the Python bits, I'm thinking it's a psychological thing. The minute I start mentioning Python, I start yawning, like I'm bored to tears. So anyway, the one thing I will say is there are other ways and better ways to get what you need, depending on what you want with AI. Now, I'm not advertising or sponsored by Feedly, but I've been using Feedly for over a decade now, and it is quite good, and it's not hard to add RSS feeds. The mailing lists are a little bit more difficult because I don't think you have those, but you can go here and go, and you've got all kinds of blogs and things that you can add to the list here. So I mean, you've got Flashpoint, which I follow, cloud.google. Ooh. Okay, well, let's add that one. Threat Intel. And you get different folders for things like, PMP resources for project management and whatever. I have my leadership stuff. I do some web comics. I have infosec related items. I have a few sites for that. Now, the other thing you're going to find is a lot of these sites will often copy paste from other sites. So you'll find stuff that's very similar in here, like ransomware, Seattle Public Library, like what is this, ransomware Google alerts. So these are Google alerts for various things that come up. So Seattle Public Library obviously has got ransomware attack going on right now. You can also filter by certain keywords like ransomware, or you can do a keyword search that way. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't try this. If this is something you definitely want to try and learn about AI and be able to tune your bot and everything, and you've already used Telegram for secure messaging and what have you, go for it. And you also are pretty decent at Python, and you're going to have to create an Azure function to automate the process. So you go in, create an Azure OpenAI account. Okay. Is that it? Try Azure for free. Start free. I have no idea if this is the right site. No. Okay, where did they suggest going here? Let's see. Create an Azure account, create a subscription. Okay, so you also have to create an Azure account if you don't have an Azure account. So you also have to go in and do that. Navigate to Azure AI Services and create an Azure OpenAI account. Okay, so you can see how the owl is getting larger and larger and larger. So now you have to also have an Azure account. You also have to have a subscription, which I don't know if you have to pay for that subscription or if you can get a free, like 30 days kind of, thing. That's another thing I have problem with like the Medium blog posts. It's a 4-minute read, but it obviously is not 4 minutes to actually do these things. And it is not as simple as they suggest. The one thing to keep in mind when you're looking at these, it's 5 simple steps. Not really. It is definitely draw the owl. So you can create a list of threat intel blogs, create a bot. If you have an Azure account, go ahead and go set up an OpenAI account. It might work for you. See pricing tier. It looks like you have to actually pay for this. So maybe they have a free tier. I don't know. Navigate to resource management to get your keys and endpoint details, which will be needed to make API calls to the GPT model. So you're going to have an API key, more than one potentially, depending on if you have access to custom data sources, if you're trying to, the other thing is maybe some APIs that you're going to call for threat intelligence only have a certain amount of pulls every day, or it will be rate limited in some way. So you might want to think about that when you start doing these things. It says develop a Python code. Important libraries you need to import: OpenAI, requests, OS, load_.env, and feed parser. Okay, so the feed parser sounds fairly, I don't want to say, it feels fairly self-explanatory. You're going to have an RSS feed and you're going to have to parse the XML out of it and then get the links that you need and do that. So you would need a bot token and a channel ID to send messages to Telegram. So, once your AI API has done that, then you're going to send those to your Telegram connection. You can store both of these things in an env file and fetch the data later in the code for better security. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna put these in an environmental file with your token and your channel ID. I'm assuming both of those are probably fairly sensitive, so you wouldn't want to necessarily share those. And then you can use the below code to load and pass the API key and endpoint value, which can be used to call APIs later. Load.env, okay, so that's the env file that you're going to create. Client open Azure AI, this is default and can be omitted. Then you'll need to parse the RSS URLs and navigate through the entries to check for recent blogs published. Yeah, just use Feedly. Yeah. Now I paid for mine over a decade ago when when Google Reader died, rip Google Reader, and it was $99 for a lifetime membership. And at the time I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of money. I can't believe, just to show you where I was, $99 for me was a lot of money. And I was like, oh God, what if it, that's a lot of money. I wonder if I'll get my value back. Yes, 100%. I got my value back. I don't know if they do a lifetime membership anymore. Let's see. I do know that they do a lot of advertising about threat intelligence feeds, and they do have their own AI. I don't know what that means. Looks like you can go in here and make AI feeds and mute filters. The one other thing you might want to try is something like IFTTT, which is a business automation platform. You can pay for that too. They do have a free version, so you can. If you're looking for threat intel feeds or whatever, and you don't need too many or a lot of them, or maybe you just want to test it out to see how it works, you can do certain ingestion, certain ingestion of certain feeds. So let's say you want Unit 42s and you want Microsoft's, or maybe you want Google Securities, or maybe you found one that aggregates other threat intel feeds. It's all turtles all the way down in it, and you can check those regularly, and you can have IFTTT send you a text message, or integrate with something to allow you to publish your own applet for those kind of things. There's many automation processes out there. IFTTT has been around for a good long while. There's other ones like, oh crap, what is that one? My friend raves over it, automation, task automation. Anyone else use Feedly or have anything that they use for generating threat intelligence feeds, or maybe specific news items? It doesn't have to be threat intelligence. It could be like, role-playing game news, or, Pokemon Go events or something like that. No, Integrify, that's not it. Which one is it? Cflow, Reddit, Smartsheets, not Asana, no, it's an email one, email task automation. Zapier, that's it. Zapier, that's it. Ding, 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 ding. That's another one that will also allow you to connect your things together. They do it more for like marketing and engagement kind of stuff, but you can also use it to automate, all kinds of stuff. So as you can see, they've got Eventbrite here, Facebook, social media posts. You can hook all that stuff up. Yeah. And the idea is everything goes through Zapier. Now, it's a nightmare, right? You're trusting one company to have access to all of the things that you use. A lot of the MailChimp, you've got ChatGPT, your Teams, you've got, other bits here. I don't know what the Z is necessarily, but you got Google Mail. So, you can have Zapier watch your Gmail inbox. And then if you get an email, it would automatically send something to your Slack and say, hey, you've got an email message. Here it is. The one thing I would say about all of this, even if you decide, hey, I want, and you know what, I'm gonna put this link in our chat just, so people can see it. There you go. If you decide you want to do a Telegram bot for threat intelligence and you've got an OpenAI, Azure OpenAI and all this stuff, and you want to draw that particular owl, let me know how it worked out, because I'd love to see if it is as easy as the person suggests. Now, there's a lot of trust as well that you've got to think about here. Don't know this person. Seems like they might actually be pretty good. They got 66,000 followers. It's, let me see. What kind of stuff do they talk about? Okay, so 30 Python concepts I wished I knew way earlier. Okay, 10 tools that vastly brighten up my coding experience. Am I going to have to buy a Medium account to be able to listen to this? A long screen. Okay, so he's got a big long ass screen, 34-inch curved monitor. External screens, yeah, you're gonna have to the one that is just down there is a decent laptop stand. So yeah, I find this would be interesting if you can make it work. And if you don't use Telegram, figure out how you might use it in, I don't know if does other chat bot, does Signal have bots? Signal Messenger bots. Unofficial community for news and does Signal have bots? Just received a message from a user and attached. Fortunately, spam's a larger issue, borderline, sad to see is infected with spam. Well, everything's going to get infected with spam at some point. People write code. Yes, bots exist on every single messenger. Okay, so there might be bots that you can, integrate Signal with if you wanted to go that route, or, Wire or whatever. Oh, that's a good comment. Where's my Discord at? Where was that? Oh, so we were talking. One of our good friends was talking about secure messaging apps, and somebody had mentioned Session. This one here in particular, and because I was talking about somebody. What was the discussion? Let me see what they say. We were talking about the Slack thing, right? And that was another thing. Something came out last week, and I don't know if I've talked about this. I think I talked about it. I was going to talk about it on Friday, but it didn't happen. But Slack AI training. There we go. So Ars Technica on the 17th. Okay, so that would have probably been Tuesday. That I think I already talked about this, but I actually did a response back from Slack that had mentioned. Let me go find that email that they sent me back. Let's see, bds.podcast@gmail. There it is. All right. So I appreciate the response because they did hit me up on this. The one thing I did not add in the ticket was the name of the Slack, so breaksec.slack.com. And so the person who was following up on the ticket said, thanks for reaching out. We've processed your request and your workspace/org is now opted out of training Slack's global model. So this, the BreakSec Slack, which we've had since 2017, has nearly 1 million messages in it. And, you know, as I told him in the email, I'm ambivalent about it. I think, you know, we're tilting at windmills here. I think the AI bus is going to run us over if we don't learn how to drive that bus particularly. But I know that of, you know, the 2,300 accounts that we have in our BreakSec Slack and the active users, not everybody has the same thoughts there. So I felt it was a requirement for me to opt out. So the team at Slack responded back saying, as a reminder, Slack does not train LLMs or other generative models on customer data or share customer data with any LLM providers. We want to provide additional clarity on what your experience will be after you opt out. All data associated with your workspace will only be used to improve the experience of your own workspace. You will still enjoy all the benefits of our globally trained AI ML models without contributing to the underlying models. No product features will be turned off, though certain places in the product where users could have previously given feedback will be removed. The global models will likely perform slightly worse on your team, as any distinct patterns in your usage will no longer be optimized for. So what they're trying to say is, we're going to get a lesser AI experience. We're still going to have an AI. It just won't be, you know, trained based on response and feedback from, you know, the users in the channel. So it'll be more general. It's like the ads will not be tailored to your particular experience. They said, if you'd like more information on how Slack protects your data when you're using machine learning and AI, please visit our blog. And they gave a little blog link to here, and this is the link they gave me in the email. I think it's good. I think that was probably the best answer they could give me. I mean, obviously, let me see, it said, and I know y'all can see my screen. It says, over the next week, we will remove historical de-identified model training data from opted out teams such that this historical data will no longer be used for training global models. Regards, the team at Slack. So kind of what I expected in the response. They're de-identifying the data. So, you know, if I put a huge diatribe about, you know, 2FA or something like that in Slack, or, you know, the Slack itself is based on a certain subject, they're going to de-identify that. So opinions or, you know, person identifying information is not going to be something that is going to be in the trained model. Not sure what that means for the more general model. And, you know, it sounds like you'll still be able to use AI inside of Slack. It's just, like I said, it won't be as tailored or as snappy. So, I mean, I think the other thing they're trying to say is when it sucks, don't come crying to us because you opted out, you know, or, you know, if your people in your Slack complain about the AI being crappy, remember you're the one who logged out or opted out of that, which is fair cop, right? If even one, you know, if one person in our Slack likes using it, that's, you know, that's fine. But yeah, it was just interesting to see that. So what do they say here? Industry standard. How can you have, what are the industry standard machine learning techniques? We do not train or build these models in such a way they could learn, memorize, or be able to reproduce any customer data of any kind. Okay. While customers can opt out, these models make the product experience better for the users without the risk of their data ever being shared. Slack's traditional ML models use de-identified aggregate data and do not access message content in DMs, private channels, or public channels. So the traditional ML models use de-identified aggregate data and do not access message content. So I'm still kind of ignorant on this. It's like, okay, so if you're not using the public channel data, you're not using the private channel data, and you're not using DMs, what are you using? Maybe somebody else, maybe the two viewers that I have, thank you viewers, have some ideas to what they're trying to do here, but I understand they're trying to de-identify it, so even if I posted up something, a huge diatribe about something, it won't technically be used as, hey, you know, this is Brian and he has a, you know, idea about these things, but I'm trying to figure out what are they de-identifying then? What are they aggregating? Are they aggregating general sentiment like, hey, this is a positive comment about AI, this is a negative comment about AI, this is a neutral comment about 2FA? I guess, you know, I just haven't used the AI functions in Slack, so I don't know what it's looking for. I mean, I can only search back message history of 90 days, so let's see. Sorry, I'm looking at my canvases. Curate content and collaborate. Okay, so that's the new. Yeah, see, that's the other thing. It's like I've never used it, so I don't know what to expect here. So let me see. Using Slack AI. Summarize conversations. Okay, so it's going to summarize conversations, so it could searches projects, teams, and topics already in Slack to find what you need. You can even ask in your own words, like, what's the Q1 sales strategy? All right, but where am I doing this from? Instantly summarize conversations. So I could see that maybe in a, maybe you have a huge thread talking about, I don't know, we just had one today talking about, what was it? Audit logs in Azure, right? Somebody posted up, hey, you know, you think audit logs are a premium feature, and somebody else said, today I learned creating custom detections in Defender is plan 1, but data collection to make useful detections is in plan 2. And so you might, you know, the AI will scan this thing and go, you know, based on the discussion in here, some people have strong feelings about, you know, logs not being free, or you know, the problem with dealing with logs inside of SharePoint or something like that. Oh, okay, so it's a, where was that? Okay, so let me go. Sorry, I'm looking. I may not even have that because I don't pay for our Slack, so let me go see if it's available in our work Slack. Let me see. They may have opted out our work Slack as well, considering, you know, we do probably pay a pretty penny for our Slack instances. Yeah, I don't see the little, average time users can save weekly with Slack AI. Okay. Project Gizmo. Yeah, I think they've probably opted out on those. So I don't have the option to try the AI portion there on our Slack. Huh. Get a daily recap, messages missed. Interesting. Okay. I mean, it sounds like if you have a really active Slack and, you know, you see people who use badge of honors, like I've got 8,000 unread emails, you might use AI to go, okay, the overarching, there was 500 emails from somebody like this, or, it might be able to, quickly summarize what was in some of your more important emails, based on, are they from my boss, or are they from certain people, or are they from certain mailing lists? You could say, well, okay, this project is due on Thursday because there's 5 emails talking about this, or something like that. But it feels like unless you have the paid version of this, you don't actually have let's see, is Slack available globally? Yes, Slack is generally available where Slack is able to be purchased. See, that's what I'm thinking. I didn't purchase the Slack, so maybe it's not available. Interesting. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Slack AI free. Slack's AI on free tier. Okay, so Slack AI is available to purchase as an add-on for all paid plans. Here's how to buy Slack AI if you haven't signed up for Slack Create a Workspace. If you're using Slack on the free plan, you've got to upgrade your... Okay, so my work that probably uses the non-free version of Slack has probably opted out because I don't see anything having to do with AI on any of that, or that little star thing. Actually, let me try clicking. Mute channel, open a new window, move channel, stars. Yeah, so they must have opted us out of that pretty damn quickly. If you're on the free tier, then you don't have to worry about it. I guess it's preemptive. If I ever got rich enough that I could actually pay for Slack for all of our active users, then I'd be opted out. So that's kind of good. The other thing is, like, a lot of people say, well, are they using the free Slack to train their AI? And I don't know if that's the case or not. I would hope they tell people, but yeah. Well, that's kind of a good plus. Slack says policy changes are imminent amid the backlash. Well, that's no telling. Not surprising here. So they've already had to add the additional stuff. Users opting out of sharing chats with Slack. New policies not new. Wired warned about it in April. TechCrunch reported the policy had been in place since 2023. Began on Hacker News, where Slack users called out the chat service for failing to notify users about the policy change, quietly opting them in. Yes, nobody likes to be opted into anything. Some expletives here. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, good. As long as you don't have the paid version, you should be fine. So we were talking about the Slack thing. Really weird rabbit hole I just went down, but we were talking about other messaging services and what they how they stack up in terms of privacy or secure attachments or end-to-end security, or where the servers are located that your messages are going to pass through if they're not a decentralized service. And I found this, and I don't know how old this is. I didn't find any dates in here for this. Yeah, so this is a number of different messaging programs here, talking about things like Google Message, iMessage, Facebook Messenger, Element, Signal, Telegram, Threema. Some of these I've never even heard of before. Threema, Wicker, of course, but I don't know if Wicker is still around or not. WhatsApp, Facebook's WhatsApp. Session, which is the one that somebody had mentioned to me that was like all the new hotness and very good, and it's the de facto standard for messaging and what have you. And then Simplex, I don't know that one, and then Twitter DM, which I guess they threw that one up there because they had to. But it's interesting, all of the things that a lot of these don't do. right? Every secure messaging service, it really depends on what you care about, right? And so, doink, doink, doink. Let me maximize that a little bit for y'all. So one of the first things they said is the app recommended to secure my attachments and messages. So pretty much no across the board except for Wire, Session, Threema, and Signal. According to these people, I don't know who Secure Messaging Apps Comparison website is. If it's, I'm trying to figure out who. Oh, cool. Okay, Secure Messaging Apps. So this is an interesting data flow diagram, which I didn't have a chance to go and look through on this. It's actually also a decent threat model here. So, go take a look at this if you're wanting to use this at work for, trying to figure out which threat model, which instant messaging you should use. I know a lot of companies use something like this for out-of-band messaging. Like, they don't call people on the company phones because they might be, owned up through the VoIP system or what have you. SMS, obviously, if you're dealing with things like incident response, maybe not the best thing to use. They might use something like a Signal or a WhatsApp. I didn't see WhatsApp on here. Oh, there it is, Facebook WhatsApp. See, I just call it WhatsApp, but so there's this would be a good thing if your company's trying to figure out which messaging service they want to use. Obviously, you don't want to use something like Twitter DM. You don't want to use something like Facebook Messenger unless you can turn on some kind of end-to-end encryption. But yeah, so they say main reasons why the app isn't recommended. No independent code audit and security analysis. Some of these are like, if they just had a code analysis recently, some of these might actually be a yes. So Telegram, they don't suggest Telegram because it uses bespoke cryptography. Encryption is not enabled by default. Okay, so this is a throwaway here because you can enable it. Data not protected, not all data is protected. So hopefully they'll explain more of that as we go through here, but the fact that it's closed source is a negative. I don't know. A lot of the ones that are no is obviously because they're closed source. I see a lot of that here. Closed source, closed source, closed source, closed source. I don't know. Hey, Digital Warhead. You're the first person to chat with me today. How are you today, sir? We're talking about message. We talked about a number of things, including Slack's AI or generative something ML, whatever. And then we're talking about secure messaging apps. So some of the things on this list you can remedy them. Encryption enabled by default, you can enable that. Okay, so that's one less thing for Telegram. Bespoke cryptography, maybe it might, depending on if it's bespoke, how bespoke, it might allow you to pick specific crypto that you can use. Weather is pretty ugly up here. Oh, really? Seattle Wah. I don't want to use the term it rains, but it pours, but I guess Seattle Public Library's got some issues as well. Oh, yeah, ooh, cool and rainy, yes. Yes. That is not a good time. Let me see, what's the national listers? Oh yeah, chance of showers, 50 to 80%. Well, you have the rainy season, we still have clouds, so yeah. I do remember that time of year. So Simplex needs further consideration. They need to provide a transparency report. They're not really required to do that, so Simplex might be an option if you want. Company jurisdiction, USA bad, bad, bad. UK bad, apparently. USA bad. US, UK, Belize, and UAE, that's bad. Switzerland is somewhat partially good. Luxembourg and Japan, somewhat partially good. USA, Switzerland's bad. Okay, maybe it's the fact that it's USA and Switzerland together. Australia, UK, USA. Apparently they don't like the Five Eyes. This organization, this company, or this creation, not a fan of the Five Eyes. So bad. Infrastructure, so where the servers are located, right? So just because the company's in the USA doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to go through the USA. So they have worldwide rollout, ongoing, unsure of exact locations, most likely Google Cloud regions. That's for Google Messages. iMessage uses Ireland, Denmark. Ironically enough, Apple doesn't have their own data center, so they use AWS and Google, which is super weird. Super weird. My two messenger apps are Google Messages and Signal, with others who also have it, but I do like that Google Messages also sets end-to-end encryption for other Google Message users and also supposed RCS. Yeah, I know this is probably going to lose me like Twitch followers, but I don't use encrypted messaging apps. I don't. Supports. Oh, supports. Okay. I tried for years. I used Signal for a while. I used it in deference to family members sending me messages. I think I've talked about this more than once on the show. It was like I would send a message from Signal to my mom, who gets our SMS messages, and then she'd never get those messages. And then she would send me messages and I would never get them. And then I just finally uninstalled Signal because I was like, I don't need it. Me and my wife, we use Facebook Messenger. I talk with my daughter and my mother and other family members through Facebook Messenger and or SMS. So apparently they have an issue with Switzerland. Apparently Switzerland is somewhat bad. I don't get that. I don't understand. Anything, I guess, with the UK or any of the Five Eyes is bad. Signal used to support SMS, but stopped due to confusion, not knowing if it was encrypted or not. Yeah. And, I have joined, we're part of the Die Hard Bolts Club, which is one of the fan groups down here in San Diego and elsewhere in the Southern California area for the Chargers, an NFL football team, American football team. So they have Telegram, but I rarely use it. I don't get on it, and right now there's about 8,000 messages that I haven't looked at in the list here, and I mean it's fairly active. So but yeah, these people lose their minds. And I get messages saying, hey, they've joined Telegram. I just I don't use it. So. We used WhatsApp, I think, while we were on the cruise ship a couple times because, phones don't work out there, so SMS didn't work out there. But let's see, implicated in giving customers data to intelligence agencies. So several of these organizations have not, that they know of, given their data to intelligence agencies, but Google, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, Facebook, and Twitter have all given it apparently to intelligence agencies. Surveillance capability built into the app. So they have done some due diligence, apparently. So apparently, of course, there was some fairly well-known news articles back in like 2010, 2011, 2012, I think, where Skype was actually owned up by the Chinese intelligence agencies. So that's why Yes is on Skype. I don't know if they've been able to evict the Chinese intelligence organizations there, but as far as they can tell, pretty much everyone across the board is no on whether or not a surveillance capability is built into the app. Does the company provide a transparency report? Yes. Which is why, a lot of these these ones that popped up. So every yes here is like, oh, did we give money, information intelligence agency? Yes. So that's why the yes is up here. Pretty much match. Oh, yes, but no. Yes, but no. So no and no. That's interesting. Funding. Google pays for Google, Apple, Facebook pays for that, Microsoft pays for their own. It's good to follow the money trail, right? In this case, so Facebook is Facebook, Amazon /CIA. Okay. User pays Affinium Management AG. So apparently this is okay. This organization is cool. Someone named Pavel Durov is also okay. Let's go see who Pavel Durov is. Russian-born Emirati entrepreneur known for founding social network site VK and the app Telegram Messenger. Where does he live right now? He left after refusing to cooperate with the Russian Secret Service and provide encrypted data. Okay, so he's a French citizen. Okay, that's not awful. Anyway, so I'm not gonna slide through all this, but it's interesting matrix of messaging apparatus that there's a lot of red on this. That red typically is bad, right? So, adding a contact without needing to trust a server directory. I mean, there's a lot of questions that they ask here. So, I don't know anyone that uses Telegram and I have no desire to use it myself. Seems like a lot of scams happen on Telegram. Yeah, again, I was, when we joined this Die Hard Bolts Club, that's what they use. Not sure why. I don't have any other contacts on there except the Die Hard Bolts Club. So I also have Signal. I have Signal and I have WhatsApp, but I rarely use them. I mean, I probably, if somebody texted me on those, I don't even know if they would come up on here. Let me see. So, Mr. Domko. Oh, okay. So Matt Domko actually messaged me. I talked about him earlier in the show. He gave me a phone call. But yeah, so it's a good list of questions that you can go and look through. A lot of these things are NA or don't exist because, like with Twitter, it's not a full-fledged app, right? Private key on the device itself is not applicable to the system. Can messages be read by the company? Probably yes, if it's Twitter DM. Twitter can do whatever the hell they want with that. So some of this may not be filled in correctly. Some of it may actually be needing to be updated potentially. Wicker is excluded from cloud iTunes backups. So NA, all of these are excluded from cloud backups. But yeah, so you can go and take a look at those. Yeah, I couldn't find any. If it's blank, I couldn't find any information about it. So I don't know who the person is, but if your organization uses, Telegram, for instance, you might want to go back down through here and go, oh, okay, is this something we care about? Is this something we are concerned about? Implicated in giving customer data to intelligence agencies. Okay, yeah, so far we're good because we use Telegram. And to our knowledge, they've never given information to intelligence agencies. Whereas you might say, well, the company's general stance on customer privacy is poor. Oh, see, what I would like is citing sources. So like it says poor, but it's like, where's the proof, right? Telegram's stance on privacy. Now, see, if you go to our privacy, they're like, how is privacy centered is Telegram? They're like, oh, it's, on different levels of protection, but default messages are encrypted end to end or whatever. So, again, take this with a grain of salt if you're looking through this. I would have liked the author of this to cite some sources, but I don't know who actually made this. Oh, they have Twitter. Let's see what that's all about. Mark Williams. There you go. Mark Williams, Secure Mess. Secure messaging apps, Australia's anti-mass surveillance policy. Okay. He's a libertarian. Ew. Okay, well, I'm kind of out on him right now. Yeah. Do I actually want to support this guy now? Y'all can delete that link up above. I'm not a fan of somebody who just, actually puts in their bio that they support Elon Musk. So, I've added assessments of both simple X chat and X to secure messaging apps. My DMs are open for feedback and questions. More work required on the site in general. Feedback is welcome. I will leave some feedback. Just mentioned your site on my stream, but you call out orgs like Telegram, I cannot type for shit, as being poor regarding privacy stance, but do not cite sources. Have anything? Having links in the page to go to would be helpful. Anything not from Fox News or the like, though. Something middle of the road. There we go. That's good enough. I don't see the is there stuff that I might have missed? Let me shrink it. No. I don't know the simple X chat and X, yeah. But anyway, so, again, they need to cite sources at a minimum here. I mean, this one was, the Skype stuff is pretty well known if you lived in security around that time, about Chinese intelligence agencies owning up Skype. But yeah, some of these other ones would be great if they had, specifics, links to news or to documentation or what have you. I think they gave green to anything with Kyber in it because Kyber's post-quantum, which is why Apple iMessage got a green, because they just enabled Kyber on that. So between Apple iMessage and Signal, I would say of all of these, if that's really what you're worried about, like, perfect forward secrecy or, never having the ability to not pull up old messages again, or like, if somebody's dumped your Signal message queue, your Signal message history, and it's encrypted. If it's encrypted with the Kyber stuff, there's a very good chance, and I'm not saying that, unequivocally, because somebody could figure out that there's a weakness in Kyber, and then all of a sudden all this shit that people's putting into Kyber is now useless. But you can, using Kyber, which may not be by default, so that's the other thing, you're opening up Signal, you probably have to select Kyber as your encryption device du jour. Let me see, how do I do that? Go to storage. Yeah, 2.3 megs of storage. Shit, right now. Trying to figure out how you might set up account. Transfer account to new phone. Chat stories, no appearance, no. I'm trying to find in the generate link previews, keep muted chats archived, enter key send. Okay, I'm looking for where privacy. Phone number, one contact blocked, good. Screen lock, screen security, payments advanced. Let's see. Censorship circumvention, okay. Send icons, send allow from anyone, no. I think it's default. I don't think you have a choice with Signal. Well, I mean, so Digital gives you these multiple options here, and that would be great if it automatically defaults to Kyber. In that case, you don't need the other encryption methods. Get rid of all of them, use Kyber, right? You don't need the other options. So, but yeah, that's good to know if that's really the case. So, if that's all you really care about, though, I mean, between Apple iMessage and Signal, that's probably the reason a lot of people use secure messaging, right? They don't want somebody in the future finding out that on the 27th of April, 2025, you asked somebody to pick up milk at the store, because that's really fucking important and needs to be encrypted. In the same vein, there's people out there passing, state secrets on SMS texts or in drafts in Gmail by just, creating an email and saving as a draft. It happens. I guess it really depends on what you're worried about. And that's your threat model. And this is cool. I mean, I would say of all of these things, if you are looking at, because it gives you the method, it gives you API endpoints, it's telling you, what the connections are from the App Store, app downloads, requesting downloads, notifications, etc. So the threat model alone, they've taken a good amount of time with this to follow up on these different threats. Spoofing an adversary, tricking users into downloading the app from an app store, legitimate. Deploying to an app store, right? The vendor's build service could be compromised, leaving malicious changes in the app. We've seen that happen with, developers who've, been owned and have updated libwebp. One of them had been modified on a user's, on a developer's service. So, obviously, this is not complete, so there's some additional work that needs to be done, but it's nice to see even the start of an open source kind of threat model here. Google and or Apple could maliciously modify the app. I guess you could do that. I guess if you're worried about Apple and Google doing that makes sense. Oh, yes, I was looking at, here we go. What's the other thing? Yep. How Slack protects itself. This was cool, just to, shift gears a little bit because we were talking about nothing but secure messaging. Broadcom maybe realized they fucked up a little bit by removing the ability for people to use ESXi. So as a peace offering, I think that they are allowing Fusion Pro and Workstation Pro free for personal use. I know it's not perfect, and I'm not arguing to or from. I did not run bare metal ESXi. I actually have a series of actually have XCP-NG running on bare metal, which XCP-NG. So I have a Zen server that's running right here, as a matter of fact, right underneath, it's bare metal hypervisor that you use orchestration to work with. So, and let me tell you, it took a non-zero level of effort for me to get that done, because there we go. So, oh yeah, I got my concierge running. I do need to get Mick Douglas on because we want to talk about concierge. Let's see, I think that's it. 8080. Nope. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, Zen Orchestra. Orchestra latest. Well, this was working before, so. Oh. There we go. Try running it again. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, it's a nice little server. Connect to my server and mothership enabled. Okay. You know, you can run all kinds of shit on here in such a way that. Oh wait. I may need to start up Zen again. So. Anyway, so yeah, and you know, they're throwing people a bone. Hey, we screwed up. We should not have removed ESXi. We're going to give you VMware Workstation and Fusion Pro. I actually liked Fusion Pro on Mac OS, having tried to use Parallels and VirtualBox. I actually preferred Proxmox. Hey, Wading, how you doing? That's Wade. Internet Wade. Yeah, a lot of people in our Slack channel also went to Proxmox as well. They said that. But yeah, different strokes, different folks. You know, whatever worked. But yeah, I mean, I've been using VMware Workstation for years. Linux, Windows, and Mac, and VMware kind of just worked for me. I never used the ESXi stuff, but yeah. So now they're allowing it for personal use. I think that what they realized is they scared away a bunch of people for that. So yeah, say Digital Warhead D-Dubs has been using Proxmox for years. It's good to know that there's options out there if you need something to replace it. Yeah, there you go. And you know, there's support. I think you can get support if you want to. They also obviously have the free version, or the free and the paid version if you want to go and, you know, have that paid. You can get subscriptions and what have you. Oh, they came out with an update 3.2 available as of April. So, but you know, I think what they're trying to do by giving away Fusion Pro and Workstation Pro, which I actually still have a paid version of Workstation Pro, but I didn't go to VMware's site to re-register on Broadcom's portal. So I probably have lost the license for that. They're making the businesses pay more money, which makes sense, and giving this away for free, which they're not trying to penalize home users. I think I paid what, $199 for upgrades of VMware Workstation. Every time an upgrade would come out, I'd pay, like, you know, the discounted amount from, you know, 10 to 11 to 12 to 17 or 18, whatever the hell it was. The reason I liked the Windows version was the Linux license was right next to it. So if you bought the Windows version, you bought the Linux version, and vice versa. So it was pretty much two OSs for the price of one. The move to Proxmox has not been easy. I've heard that there's different peccadillos, right? It's not as easy as a lift and shift. I do know that oh, there we go. Okay. The XCP and G version, which is Zen based, UI is just different. Yeah. The Zen server version actually kind of had a lift and shift version if you were using ESXi or something like that to lessen the problem, because they also had a P to V or a V to V, V to V. So you could go virtual to virtual, so it would convert that stuff for you. I've also tried Hyper-V, and that was god awful. There is no good, ESX to, Hyper-V transfer kind of thing. I couldn't find one that worked actually properly. So, but yeah, so I think it's good that they're giving these away for free. They're losing money from the home crowd by giving them away for free, so they're jacking up the price on the corporate amount. For everybody who was wailing and gnashing of teeth when they said, "Oh, I can't believe it's 3 times what it was originally," it is what it is, right? And I saw a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth at organizations, or people who work at those organizations say that the price had gone up a lot. I think Broadcom is hedging their bets that they're not going to move stuff just because of pricing. The lift and shift of going from ESX, Broadcom ESX to whatever, you're going to pay for Proxmox, you're going to pay for Zen. If you're using Zen, you're going to pay for it, even if it's free, even if you're going to XCPNG or Proxmox. I mean, to Wade's point here, the move hasn't been easy. It costs you time, right? It costs you effort. The learning and the ramp up of those things is a cost. So even if it's free, it's going to all weekend. A whole weekend was lost. Sometimes it's right, D-Dub. Sometimes it's cheaper to pay the fee increase rather than work the hours to switch platforms. Yeah, I mean, if you're working at scale, you've got several hundred servers. You're gonna suffer from. One second, let me shut my door. I'll be done in a minute. One of the joys of a wireless mic, you never walk away from the microphone. But yeah, so if you have 100% uptime, brand new system, it's going to get real hairy. It's going to set your ass on fire if something goes down because, we didn't want to pay $15,000, $20,000 for a VMware license. I don't know how much they cost. I don't care. I'm just throwing out a number there versus the $5,000 that it used to cost. So, the increase in pay for the safety of not having anything change is going to be worth it for some companies. And, everybody gets to still use VMware Workstation Pro and Fusion Pro at home, which, yeah, it's not ideal if you liked bare metal, but it is what it is. So, what'd they say now? Yeah, no longer free access to vSphere ESXi. So, IT professional, Proxmox over virtual, but no, XCPNG over all. XCPNG owns all. There you go. I hate that VirtualBox works as well as it does because it's an Oracle product. I really hate that. Really bites, and especially because I think you can use things like if you find a website with, say, Cisco firmware, you can actually run that stuff inside of there. VB is easy and simple. Yes, it is, Wade. It is absolutely easy, which is why I hate it, because it's a fucking Oracle device. It's owned by Oracle. Maybe they cut it loose, maybe they just, push it off a cliff and it becomes free, or they push it out of the nest and it flies away and it, becomes free. Yeah. Somewhere out there, somebody's got the last known fork of VirtualBox and they just haven't shared it with anybody. So it's unfortunate. I found setups of virtual and virtual NICs much easier. Yes, I've used both DDubs and VMware versus VirtualBox. Sometimes VirtualBox does a better job. I don't know if it's the network stack or what have you, or it's virtual NIC or whatever it is that it uses. But yeah, I have found in some cases VirtualBox is easier, which is why I still have it installed, and why moving. It was also, VirtualBox was the only one that I think worked when you had Hyper-V installed. Some of the earlier versions of VMware, if you had Hyper-V installed, VMware shit the bed. And so, you run into that kind of issue, whereas like sometimes you have interoperability problems. VirtualBox would work with Hyper-V, but VMware wouldn't. So, again, it's up to them, and I think it is goodwill. I think Broadcom realized, hey, we changed too much too quickly, and so it's hard to believe they've been around since 1999. I remember building a solution, a middleware solution with a government contractor using VMware Player, which technically you weren't supposed to do that, but we still shipped it with that in there. Hopefully in the last 15 years, they've gone and done something a little different. I don't know. And also they've got other ones like QEMU, which I've used QEMU as well. It's a bit janky for me. I've never actually got it to work properly. Hyper-V is garbage. I can't use Hyper-V for shit. If you're a purely Windows Office or Microsoft Office, Microsoft environment, maybe Hyper-V works for you, but yeah, I've never had anything but trouble with Hyper-V. I had such hopes for it, but so yeah, I really liked Fusion Pro on a MacBook. Y'all are smart. Does the new ARM MacBooks, will they run an Intel? I know it's probably a stupid question. Will they run an Intel VM, or am I going to have to run Windows ARM on VMware Fusion Pro? Or does it have some kind of translation there where it translates the POSIX stuff from Intel to ARM and then ARM back to Intel? Y'all are smart. You should know. You know that. Somebody out there's got a Mac and is using VMware Fusion Pro or whatever. By the way, how's the audio sound? Since I now have people who are, chatting with me. I'm trying out the new microphone. It's a Shure. This is what I got. JK, I have no idea. You need an x86 emulator. I'm using this thing here, so, and this is the microphone for it. It's not bad. So far, it's working fairly well. So it's just a little mic. Could almost use it for speaking engagements or what have you. Anyway, so one of the things that we're going to shift gears again from VMware to something completely out the ordinary. Some people had mentioned they're still looking for a job, and kind of sucks that I know some people who've been almost 18 months without a job, and it actually fills me with stress because I feel like I can't help them find a job with the network that I have, which kind of sucks. If you are hiring, or your company is hiring, or you're looking for a job, there are some things that some people have suggested you do when you're looking for a job. They mention, spring cleaning on your socials, removing sensitive or unprofessional information from public accounts. I'm guessing that this person has suggested that companies will review social media accounts, and if you are somewhat unprofessional in your social media accounts, that might actually make you a poor hire, especially if maybe you are interviewing for a job at a company you have badmouthed in the past. So it's, if you are I'm not saying that people would be petty enough to do that, but I could see somebody saying, well, if they're going to talk shit about, Google, do we want them on our team? They don't have to not hire you. They could just decide not to interview you and lose your resume, or, instantly dear applicant you, or what have you. Or, they could use those threat intel bots, or like we found out about earlier, to scrub your, social media accounts looking for, Brian Brake, and finding out, oh, he's a podcaster. Let's not hire him. So optimize your profile, enhance visibility by optimizing LinkedIn and other networking profiles. LinkedIn does have AI, like rewrite this thing using AI, which couldn't hurt. And what I'm wondering is, does LinkedIn give preference or make the algorithm better if you enable the AI stuff? So, if you're using just a regular, hey, I typed this up myself, maybe it's not as good as the AI version, and they're like, oh, you're taking advantage of our Copilot product, so we'll give you a little better algorithm bump. I don't know. Seems like that would be an unfair practice, but I'm not Amazon, or I'm not Microsoft, so. Expand your reach, grow your professional network. It's easier said than done. Connect with a mix of contacts on LinkedIn to increase your visibility and build strong relationships that can. This is again drawing the owl, right? It's like you can follow a bunch of people on LinkedIn. Spending time with them is completely different on LinkedIn than meeting them in person, or going to a local meetup or some kind of networking opportunity online. Post consistently to keep your network informed and engaged. Share updates on activities, accomplishments, and perspectives. Yeah, okay, that's fine. It's not awful. This is not an awful article, but yeah, it's there's definitely stuff you could do outside of this as well when you're job hunting. There's, professional organizations you could join if you're in a city that supports those, like ISSA or local DEF CON group, or, get involved with your local B-sides if you know of one. I don't know of one around here in San Diego. I don't think they have a B-sides. I'm just kidding, Wade. They actually have an excellent B-sides, by the way. So, it's always, good to, they may not be security people, like, the kind of caliber you're looking for, but they may be the ones hiring, right? Especially professional organizations like ISSA, OWASP, local OWASP chapters, if you can get involved on those. And of course, summer camp is coming up, so there's going to be lists where you can, go and apply for jobs. I think Mubix had an ongoing list. Reddit has a NetSec. Do B-sides groups do regular meetups aside from the big annual conference? We don't hear, but a lot of the folks that participate or volunteer for the B-sides, and Wade, please tell me if I'm wrong here, but the local DEF CON group that is here, there's a lot of folks that are connected that way. As a matter of fact, yeah, so like DEF CON, the 858-619 group down here, is made up of a lot of folks that are involved in the B-sides group. And we have 40, 50 people that come to that on a regular basis. So it's definitely a good way of getting plugged in with that. They have a Slack as well, at least the San Diego version. And I know I don't know if DEF CON, Seattle has a DEF CON group meetup. They did at one time. I think they met up at Black Lodge. I don't know if they've been meeting up recently, but Reddit has a fairly famous, infosec hiring thread. Here's a junior web pen tester in Charleston, South Carolina with Black Lantern Security. So there's, this is Q2 2024. So this one came out The good thing about this is they may not advertise these on LinkedIn, so you're not going to have hundreds and hundreds of people who are advertising these things. You do kind of need to pick and choose what you're, work with DoD, you know, some of the perks you get to work with previous DoD or NSA certified red team operators. DC 206 is good, excellent, D-dubs. I'm good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. Glad they were able to get started back up again. Information security analyst. There you go. So they've got here's an entry-level infosec analyst job at Utilipro, full service advisory firm, serves physicians and medical practices. So conducting vulnerability scans and assessments, maintaining documentation. So, you know, if you're trying to get into the information security, 2 to 4 years of working in information technology, bachelor's degree, possible work or military experience in lieu of a degree, and any certs that you might have, CompTIA, Security Plus, CEH, Network Plus. The good thing is I don't see a CISSP requirement in here, which is great. So yeah. But yeah, there's several jobs here that you can go and poke around and look at online. Caesar Creek Software and Embedded Reverse Engineer. So yeah, go check out this if you are looking for a position. When did this post? This posted 2 months ago. Okay, so some of the jobs might not be available anymore, but it'll give you some ideas to what to look for. And also join our NetSec so you can, you know, find this information. This is also a good site for threat intelligence or news articles as well. So some of the stuff you're going to find on here you won't find in, you know, normal RSS feeds. So I think I could probably add this one to my Feedly if I wanted to. Let's see. Shell Trail. Yeah, so I can build an RSS feed through Feedly right here, just, you know, using Shell Trail or something. Let's see, Shell Trail. Yeah, there you go. 2 articles this week. Somebody posted something on NetSec. Here's another one from Shell Trail from Purple Team Sec. So it does, you know, going back to where we were talking about news bots or threat intel feeds, yeah, so they switched to a find in title or content. So that's kind of cool. Save AI feed, threat intel. There you go. So anytime Shell Trail shows up, I'll get some articles on that. Cool. So, all right. So I think I'm going to go because it's almost time for dinner. This Friday, we should have Tanya Yanka on. I'm going to actually send her an email this evening to double check and make sure we're good to go. She was unable to join us because of illness the last time. So we're going to get her on talking about AppSec. So if you're interested in all things AppSec, there may be some SimGrep talk. So if you're a SimGrep user or a company uses SimGrep, come join us at 3 o'clock on Friday Pacific time, and we will talk about the SimGrep, and we will talk about your questions. If you have questions, we will ask them and have that available. So, yeah, let's go share some love. Who is online right now? Hacker Frogs After School Linux OS Workshop, the Shy Hat. Okay. Let's go raid the Shy Hat. I don't know who that is, but it looks cool. So we will... Inception. Oh, see, I'm slowly making my way down the tunnel there. So, all right, everyone, have a good day, have a good week, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye.